Silence, silence.
Whoa, costume change.
Oh my God. Hi, everyone. My name is Coleen Robinson. These are just a few words to say. If you just a moment of your time.
Can't hear you.
Okay. I cannot express my gratitude about being able to spend the Thanksgiving holiday with the Yannis without giving a little history of the day itself first. Thanksgiving is an annual holiday celebrated on the United States on the fourth Thursday of November. However, this holiday has not always been on that day. Beginning in 1668, November 25th was the official legal day. Several famous people shared that day with their birthday, including Ben Stein, whose speaking tone gets me quite excited. Other people of note who share the day are Amy Grant and Christina Applegate. I like to imagine how the Bundys' Thanksgiving might be. I do love a good shoe sale story. Anywho, the date of November 25th only lasted for 5 years, possibly to put some distance between that day and the Sabbath for those Puritan colonists. I think Amy Grant might have liked that one. It is a time when families and friends gather together to express gratitude and consume a large meal, argue about politics, Jesus, or when I'm going to get married and have children. However, it is a rather uninteresting holiday, lacking anything significant, historical, or cultural of importance, with the exception of the Italians, where one would say a few novenas and go home to eat turkey cacciatore and sweet potato parmesan. You see, Thanksgiving is very big in Sicily on account of the large number of Sicilians who went to America and got thrown back out. The origins of Thanksgiving in America can be traced back to the early 17th century, when a group of pilgrims from Plymouth sailed to the New World in search of religious freedom. After the amount of time equal to the gestation period of a dog, they arrived on the shores of what we call Cape Cod today. Upon arriving, they spent much time trying to think of an original name for this new world, and they came to in order to escape Plymouth. They came up with Plymouth. This Plymouth 2.0 is in Massachusetts, where they faced a harsh winter and struggled to survive. Eventually, with the help of Native Americans, who were only too happy to help these people who would definitely and completely be respectful of their land and cultures in the future, they managed to cultivate crops and secure a bountiful harvest. This harvest was mainly maize, or corn, as the white folk call it. Maize, or corn, is a cereal grain that was first domesticated by indigenous people of southern Mexico about 10,000 years ago. There are many varieties of corn, including flint corn, golden bantam, bodacious, jubilee, dent corn, blue corn, waxy corn, ambrosia hybrid,
Yeah, I'm feeling really drained too.
flour corn, pod corn, ruby queen, silver choice, and more. To commemorate this achievement, they held a feast, which is now considered the first Thanksgiving. However, the foods that we tend to make for this food coma-inducing holiday are not those that were likely eaten on the first Thanksgiving. There weren't any mashed potatoes, as those were still on their way from South America to Europe to be introduced for the first time. These potatoes would later fail in Ireland, which would lead Jonathan Swift to satirically suggest that the poor sell their children as food for the rich. As children are much easier to catch than a turkey or a deer, I might see the appeal. Speaking of turkey, Meleagris linnaeus wasn't a Thanksgiving staple until around the turn of the 19th century. They became the go-to dish for Thanksgiving for many reasons. One of which was there was an abundance for these aggressive, big-breasted bird bullies. There was an estimated 10 million turkeys in these here United States at the time the Europeans got here. Although those numbers took a nosedive, and by the 1930s, there were only an estimated 30,000 birds left. R.I.P. Another reason the turkey made such a good Thanksgiving centerpiece was just that. It was big enough to feed an entire family, but Mom now doesn't have to spend time making an actual centerpiece for the table. Throw some bird socks on that bird bitch and call it a day.
Bird sauce.
Finally, they were an easy animal to raise for nothing but their meat. Cows are useful as long as there's milk. Hens for their eggs. But what do turkeys have to offer? Companionship? Conversation? Gobble, gobble, gag me, am I right? Now, many people might think that the one who really associated turkeys with Thanksgiving was Charles Dickens because of his 1843 work, A Christmas Carol. But leave it to men to take credit for a woman's work. The more influential campaign manager for Team Turkey was a writer by the name of Josepha Hale in 1827 with her novel Northwood, although she is more famously known for writing the banger, Mary Had a Little Lamb. She was so committed to making a turkey a Thanksgiving thing that she began a campaign to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. She believed that it might help unify the country as they are on their way towards a civil war. After all, the Civil War wasn't about slavery or even about states' rights. It was two sides of the country asking each other, "What do you want for dinner?" And the other replying, "I don't care, what do you want?" Knowing full well that both would be dissatisfied with the other's choice. Eventually, her idea went 19th century viral, and Abraham Lincoln made a presidential proclamation. Turkey Day, or Thanksgiving, became a national holiday in 1863. Anyway, the Pilgrims at the first Thanksgiving likely would have eaten deer, local seafood, corn, and pumpkin. These things obviously go well together. Since Thanksgiving has become an annual tradition, the holiday has revolved around a meal centered on roasted turkey, which is bland and dry if not cooked properly. Back to talking turkey. This bird represents 50% of the whole turkey sold in the U.S. for the year, with the rest for Christmas. As we all know, Jesus ate turkey on his birthday in that manger. If pounds of turkey was equivalent to U.S. dollars, George Lucas would have a net worth of all the pounds of turkey produced by this country last year, according to the United States Department of Agriculture. Other dishes, such as mashed potatoes, gravy, sweet potato casserole with marshmallows for some reason, are staples of this holiday meal. Another dish associated with Thanksgiving is cranberry sauce. The best and most exciting form of cranberry sauce was invented in the early 1900s by Marcus Uran. Marcus was a lawyer who decided that wearing waders in a cranberry bog was a better idea than wearing a suit to court. A cranberry bog is not to be confused with the bogs known for finding naturally mummified bodies in it, but we can't be sure that canned cranberry sauce isn't part bog person. Tart, jellied cran people. One of the traditions surrounding Thanksgiving is people gathering around a table, often with extended family members who they only see once a year and take turns stating what they are thankful for or writing essays on why they want to eat cranberry bog people with their friends. The day itself is uneventful, with the most people spending time watching grown men slam into each other whilst trying to move a prolate spheroid-shaped ball of pigskin from one side to the other on television, while declaring, "We did it," when their team of choice wins, while not actually being of any help to the millionaires on the field. I am, of course, referring to a game Americans call football, not to be confused with football, a game where you actually play using your foot on the ball. The average American football game lasts roughly 3 hours, but actual gameplay averages out to just 11 minutes. Much time is also spent engaging in mundane conversations with distant relatives. Another tradition amongst family members that want to avoid conversations with their more conservative family members is known as taking a walk. This is usually code for getting the hell out of the house to go smoke a marijuana cigarette. Other names for marijuana include weed, pot, reefer, grass, dope, ganja, Mary Jane, hash, herb, Aunt Mary, skunk, Sheba, flower, and Larry. Many cousins have had to take a walk because uptight family members may not approve, or because, thanks to Dickhead Nixon in 1970, marijuana became a Schedule I drug along with LSD, ecstasy, and heroin. Although one might argue that these drugs too might make for an interesting Thanksgiving. Otherwise, the only excitement that emerges is when someone accidentally spills gravy on their new shirt, or when the turkey takes longer to cook than anticipated. On the subject of turkey again, Thanksgiving traditions, we have the post-turkey nap, or as Urban Dictionary calls it, the
Hey!
This occurs mainly due to a large amount of amino acid called tryptophan in turkey. But the ghost of gobble isn't the only one to blame for this phenomenon. Tryptophan, along with the carbohydrates from your breads, potatoes, and other starchy sides, cause your pancreas to release insulin, which causes the amino acids in your blood levels to decrease, except the tryptophan that was already in your system. These factors, as well as the consumption of mass quantities, may cause you to feel drowsy and cause you to fall asleep on the couch next to that weird uncle.
I say, this Coleen Robinson
Finally,
is very
the
interesting.
historical significance of Thanksgiving is questionable at best. The narrative of a peaceful cooperation between Pilgrims and Native Americans conveniently overlooks the atrocities committed against indigenous people in the subsequent years. Nonetheless, we celebrate a holiday that perpetuates a sanitized version of history, ignoring the millions of horrors inflicted on Native American communities. Perhaps this is why we add cranberry sauce to the meal, to symbolize the bloodshed of the Native American people in the years to come. Now that you have a small bit of information regarding Thanksgiving, I would like to say that I am honored to spend it with the Yannis, as I now consider them my family. One in which we are all weird uncles, but not that way. And nobody expects me to get married, or do they, Barb? Or have children. I am confident that none of you will have a questionable opinion on whether or not I have autonomy over my own body. We will all go for a walk together fairly soon, and possibly fall asleep in a group coma. On this day, my pancreas is in your hands, and I am happy to pretend to care about football for no more than 11 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Coleen Robinson.
Standing ovation.
What a dashing,
I feel like you should all just like,
Who feels strange?
what a dashing presentation.
I don't think there are any more turkey facts.